Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we're looking at a company that's certainly kept investors on their toes, Dragonfly Energy Holdings. They're a leader in advanced lithium-ion batteries, focusing on markets like RVs, marine, solar, and home energy storage. So our main goal today is to sort of sift through all the recent activity, look at the core fundamentals, and break down the upcoming catalysts we found in the sources you sent us. Really trying to answer that key question, is now actually a good time to buy this stock? Before we dive into, the Q2 numbers and the patent stuff, just a quick reminder, please subscribe, like the show, leave a comment, and definitely if there's another company or maybe some specific sources you want us to tackle next time, drop it in the comments below. We really do build these conversations around what you send our way. Okay, let's talk about this wild ride. Dragonfly Energy, I mean, the price action lately has been incredible. It shot up from 52-week lows around, 15 cents, to trading well over $1. That's almost an 8x return in a pretty short window. Something big clearly shifted between, say, August and October 2025. So what were the key catalysts stacking up to power that kind of swing?
You're absolutely right. That kind of move, it is just random noise. It was driven by a few really critical events back to back. The first big piece landed in August with their Q2 earnings release. And honestly, it took the market by surprise. They reported revenue of $16.25 million, which was, decent. But the number that really turned heads was the earnings per share loss. They only lost 58 cents per share. That significantly beat the analyst consensus, which was way higher, forecasting a loss of almost $1.30.
Wow, okay. Beating estimates by that much.
Exactly. An operational beat like that, especially for a company still in its growth phase, it immediately changes the mood from, worry to maybe some cautious optimism.
And right after that strong operational news, they moved fast to shore up their finances, right? Normally, a good capital raise might spook investors.
It often does, yeah. But this time, not really. Also in August, they priced a pretty large public offering of about $55.4 million in common stock and these pre-funded warrants. Now, on paper, that's dilution, no question. But the market seemed to look past that because the cash infusion was seen as, well, essential. It signaled that Dragonfly Energy now had the runway, the liquidity, to actually execute on its bigger plans, expanding manufacturing, leveraging that new IP we'll talk about.
Okay, so it wasn't seen as desperation, more like gearing up.
Precisely. It basically gave a green light to investors who were maybe worried about their cash burn rate.
That clarity on the cash situation probably paved the way nicely for the next bit of news in September.
It definitely did. September brought the announcement of a key IP win, a patent specifically for their battery communication technology. And for a tech firm like this, intellectual property is the moat, right? It's the core advantage. The market got that immediately.
Oh, yeah. The sources show the reaction was pretty strong. Shares jumped almost 25% soon after that patent news broke. It seemed like it was riding that wave of good feeling from the equity raise and the earnings beat. Just positive news after positive news for a couple of months there.
It really felt like that. But, markets always find a balance. And this is where we need to acknowledge the skepticism that crept in. Talk about that fast run-up. October brought a kind of reality check. Reports of a large increase in short interest.
The shorts piling in.
Right. So even with the strong Q2, the successful raise, the patent win, there's still a significant chunk of the market betting against the company. The short sellers are essentially saying, okay, nice rally, but it's overdone. The underlying financial picture doesn't support this. They're waiting for reality to bite back.
That stark difference in opinion bulls hyped on IP and cash bears pointing at the history. That's exactly why we need to look beyond the recent stock chart and really dig into those fundamentals. What's so interesting here is that clash, right? The explosive stock move versus the, let's say, challenging trailing 12-month numbers.
That's the absolute core conflict for anyone looking at this stock. If you pull up the financials, especially for the last full year, the picture is, well, difficult. TTM revenue is sitting at $54.54 million right now.
Okay.
But if you look specifically at 2024, revenue is actually $50.65 million. That's a pretty sharp drop, 21.4% year over year, compared to the $64.39 million they did in 2023.
Oof, a 21% revenue decline. That's usually a massive red flag for a supposed growth story. How do the bulls explain that away?
That decline is precisely what fuels the bears. The sources suggest a couple of interpretations. One possibility is that their key markets, like RVs and marine, just hit a rough patch, a cyclical downturn in 2024.
Okay, plausible.
Or, and this is the argument the bulls make, the company might have intentionally pulled back on lower margin, older product sales during 2024. The idea is they were strategically repositioning, pouring resources into R&D, and getting manufacturing ready to launch these newer, higher value battery products.
So sacrificing short-term sales for a longer-term, higher-margin goal.
That's the narrative. But the immediate effect of that investment push is clear in the profitability numbers. Margins are deep in the red. We're talking a TTM net loss of over $30 million, minus $30.45 million to be exact, and an EPS of negative $3.63. And those losses actually widened significantly in 2024 as they were making those investments in scale and tech.
So the market's basically being asked to ignore the current losses and shrinking sales because of this promise tied to their unique tech.
In a nutshell, yes. It's a bet on the future, heavily weighted on their competitive edge, their moat.
All right, so if the financials are shaky, that moat better be strong. What exactly is this competitive advantage that gives some analysts confidence?
It really comes down to specialization. Dragonfly Energy isn't trying to be everything to everyone in the battery world. The force has consistently positioned them as a leading U.S. provider in a specific niche. Advanced deep-cycle lithium-ion batteries. Think high value uses custom power for RVs, boats, off-grid solar setups, not mass-market EV batteries, for instance.
Gotcha, so focus is key.
Focus and two other things. First, that newly patented IP in battery management systems, the tech that controls how the battery operates. That's crucial. And second, their existing relationships, particularly through OEM channels. They're already plugged into major RV and marine manufacturers. That's a barrier for new players trying to break in.
Okay, so IP plus existing industry partnerships.
Right. And the current optimism, the bull case, hinges on management delivering on their promise that these new battery products built around this IP will drive sales of higher margin items and finally push the company towards profitability.
Okay, that sets the stage. Now let's pivot to looking ahead because this is where things get really interesting, especially for traders. Over the next, say, 3 months, the sources point to 5 specific scheduled events, not rumors, these are on the calendar.
Yeah.
And they could seriously move the needle on the stock price.
And November is absolutely packed. It kicks off with arguably the biggest make-or-break event in the near term.
November 14th, 2025. That's the Q3 earnings release date. Expectations have got to be sky high after that Q2 surprise and the stock's run.
Extremely high. Any significant miss on revenue or earnings, or worse, guiding down significantly, that could just crater the rally instantly.
Yeah, the pressure's on.
But on the flip side, another strong beat would be huge validation for the bulls. It would signal that maybe that tough transition period really is over.
Then just 2 weeks later, on November 28th, we have something a bit more technical, but still important. The S&P Small Cap ETF rebalancing. Why does that matter?
It matters because of passive investing flows. Huge amounts of money are tied up in ETFs that just automatically track indexes like the S&P Small Cap. If Dragonfly Energy gets added to that index, all those ETFs have to buy the stock, usually around the rebalancing date. That creates automatic buying pressure, a sort of temporary lift.
And if they get excluded?
Then the opposite happens. Funds holding it might be forced to sell, creating selling pressure, regardless of how the company's actually doing. It's a technical factor, but it can definitely swing the price short term.
Okay, so earnings, then index inclusion. What else is on the radar?
Looking into late December and early next year, December 24th brings the holiday sales report. Given their exposure to consumer spending, especially in the RV market, that report will be a key indicator for demand sentiment across their whole sector.
Right, a macro signal.
And then early 2026 gives us more company specifics. January 8th is the institutional holdings update. That tells us if the big money, the supposedly smart money, was buying, selling, or holding during all this recent volatility.
Always interesting to see what the institutions are doing.
And then February 13th, we get preliminary Q4 earnings guidance. That's the first real glimpse of how the full fiscal year likely wrapped up and sets the stage for expectations heading into 2026.
Okay, so a busy few months ahead. Now, technically speaking, despite the underlying financial concerns we talked about, the chart itself is looking somewhat positive.
It is. From a medium-term perspective, the stock is currently holding above both its 50-day and 200-day moving averages. That's a technical signal that often confirms their solid buying interest and bullish momentum, at least for now. It can act as a support level.
And the analysts. Sounds like they're as divided as everyone else.
Pretty much reflects the overall uncertainty. The consensus 12-month price target is around $1.50. That's only, maybe 10% upside from where it's been trading recently? Not exactly screaming buy.
Pretty modest.
But then you look at some AI-driven forecasts mentioned in the sources. They paint a much rosier picture. suggesting a bullish range by December 2025, hitting anywhere from $1.74 up to maybe $2.55.
Wow, that's up to 87% potential upside. Huge difference.
Exactly. That wide gap tells you the market is basically pricing in the possibility of major positive news, but isn't certain it will land. It's waiting for confirmation.
Which brings us neatly to the rumors and the speculation swirling around.
Yes, and we need to be really clear here. The sources highlight these, but they are unconfirmed. Pure speculation at this point, but potentially very impactful if true.
Okay, let's lay them out. 4 key speculative drivers that keep popping up in forums and discussions. What's the first one?
Possibility of a strategic acquisition. The logic goes, Dragonfly now has valuable, patented tech, and they just cleaned up their balance sheet with that capital raise. So the rumor is a larger battery player, maybe someone in automotive or utilities, could see that IP as a shortcut and make a takeover offer.
Makes sense. Number 2.
Government contract possibility. Sources suggest they're actively chasing federal contracts. They can play the Made in the USA card, plus that specialized battery communication patent might be attractive for certain defense or infrastructure projects.
Interesting angle. 3rd.
Short squeeze risk. We already mentioned the high short interest.
Right.
If any significant positive catalyst hits confirmed earnings beat, a partnership, anything, it could force those shorts to cover their positions quickly. They have to buy back stock to limit their losses, which can create this explosive upward spiral in the price. Given the volatility, that risk is definitely still on the table.
And the 4th rumor, this sounds like the biggest one.
It absolutely is. The potential game changer.
Yeah.
Partnership announcement with a major EV manufacturer.
Okay, that would be huge. Where does that come from?
It seems directly linked to that new battery communication patent. If, and it's a big if, that technology proves useful and scalable for electric vehicles, not just RVs and boats.
Yeah.
Well, that just blows their addressable market wide open. We're talking moving from niche applications to the massive global automotive sector.
You could see why that rumor has legs, even if unconfirmed.
Totally. And this mix of confirmed challenges, scheduled catalysts, and high-stakes rumors explains why analyst opinions were all over the place back in October. You had Chardon Capital upgrading to strong buy. They're likely factoring in the potential success of these rumors. But at the same time, Weiss Ratings was doubling down on a sell, purely focused on the negative cash flow reality. And Wall Street Zen kind of threw up its hands and went with hold.
It perfectly captures the dilemma. Which brings us to wrapping up the risks. If we zoom out, what are the main hurdles that stop this from being a clear-cut buy?
Risk number 1 is definitely profitability and capitalization. Can't stress enough the history of losses.
Yeah.
Yes, they raised $55 million, but they have to deploy that capital effectively and get to sustainable profits. If not, they'll likely need more cash later, meaning more dilution for shareholders.
Execution is number 2, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That 21.4% revenue drop in 2024 can't be ignored. It's a warning sign. Management must prove it was a strategic pivot and not just market share loss. Delivering on Q3 earnings and showing traction with those new, higher-value products is critical. No excuses now.
And the broader environment.
That's the third piece, macro and competitive risks. Their core markets, like RVs, are sensitive to economic slowdowns. If people stop buying big-ticket items, it hits Dragonfly directly. Plus, the battery industry itself is brutally competitive. Technology changes fast, there's constant pressure on prices, and they're exposed to fluctuating commodity costs for things like lithium.
Okay, so pulling it all together, what's the final takeaway for someone listening trying to decide on this stock? We've got clear short-term momentum spurred by recent wins. We have multiple definite catalysts coming up very soon. There's some analyst confidence, especially looking at that higher-end potential. But that's all layered on top of a history of shrinking sales, at least in 2024, and significant ongoing losses and cash burn. Looking at everything from the sources, the overall sentiment seems to lean bullish, maybe like an 8 out of 10. But with a big asterisk for volatility, it seems attractive for both short-term traders playing catalyst run-ups and maybe for long-term investors who really believe in the disruptive power of that IP.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And the key factors determining the direction in the next quarter are pretty straightforward. It comes down to the actual results of Q3 earnings on November 14th. Does it confirm the turnaround? And does any of that big speculation, the EV partnership, the acquisition talk, a government contract actually get confirmed? If just one of those major rumors turns into reality, it could instantly justify a much higher valuation. If they all remain rumors and earnings disappoint, well, then the bears were right. Look, at the end of the day, the company's long-term story really does seem tied to that intellectual property. Can they leverage that tech into major partnerships, maybe even beyond their current RV and marine focus? So the crucial question you, the listener, have to grapple with is this. How much weight do you give the unconfirmed potential, especially those rumors about EV deals fueled by the patent, versus the very real established risk of negative cash flow and the absolute need for perfect execution going forward? Finding your own answer to that balance is key to deciding if and when this stock makes sense for you.
That is the perfect note to end on. A big thank you for breaking all that down. And thanks to all of you for joining us for this look into the sources surrounding Dragonfly Energy Holdings. We hope walking through all this gave you the clarity needed to understand where things stand with this very dynamic stock. We'll be back next time with another analysis based on the sources you send us.